Hey, hey everybody. Um, so thanks all of you, the early adopters of this new idea. Um, Good to see everybody. Can you hear me? Okay, it looks like everything's working all right. Oh sheesh. So one of the things that so obviously, I've been putting out albums for 15, 20 years now, almost 20 years. Oh well. Um, one of my big issues with sort of the whole world of music is that putting out albums, was one of those things where you'd have to get it to the press, and the press would, maybe give the album a cursory listen, and then they would make these sort of like demonstrative statements about the merits of that record, and then you would have to live and die based on the merits of those, of like the hour and a half of attention that they gave the band. And that always irked me. And so every album, every release, the more reviews, we get one great review was from someone who really got it. But again, I don't know how much time they spent with the album, and then we would get 6 reviews from people that just weren't paying attention, and it really began to irk. And eventually I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to submit my stuff. Our publicist was super expensive, and it just became one of those things where I was just like, I can't do it anymore, because my skin as the years went by got thinner and thinner, as opposed to getting, apparently you're supposed to develop a thick skin. That's not how it worked for me. I did just the opposite every time because for me it was like you put 6 months or 8 months or a full year's worth of concerted effort into something. And then you take it, your little baby, hey little baby, I just made you this fucking amazing thing, and you just walk up to the abyss and just hurl it in. There you go. That's the new. There's my little baby, and then you go off and make another one. And it was just getting to be too much. So for years I've rankled at the idea of the press, and so I spent a long time thinking about, okay, all right, well, if that's the case, so the thing is that it's important, the one thing that good music reviewers do is they will convey. Hold on, wait, let me see. So you should. Yeah. And Moosey. I mean, the thing is that for me, it's really funny because I kind of vacillate, even the idea of telling somebody what now, me as an artist, telling people what my music is about, kind of steals a little bit of the thunder of the discovery of the album, right? So the thing is, so for me, I really only like talking about a record after the album's been out for a while, and I know the people that were excited to digest it and to experience it as a new experience have had that chance to have that new experience, And so then if they ask and they go, "Hey, Mike, we want to know your perspective on this song," I don't mind giving that. But the thing is even so, I think it steals a little bit of the magic of kind of taking ownership as the listener. I mean. And I've talked about that quite a bit in my normal Mike TV live stream, but so I decided, all right, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna jump in with 2 feet into the deep end, and I'm just gonna pick an album, and I'm gonna listen to it 15 times, and I'm gonna write my impressions after each listen, and I'm gonna unpack the record, and I'm gonna do some exploration of who made the album and what they, and just try to unpack it with as much attention to detail and love and respect as I think that all music should be afforded, And so I started listening, and so I literally went, I checked out some new releases, and it's funny, I was looking at a bunch of them, and T.W. Walsh's album artwork actually caught my eye, and then the name of the album, Terrible Freedom, which is a fucking great name for a record, and I was like, okay, and so I'm like, all right, I'll listen to a track, because I didn't want to listen too much, because I wanted to go in from the very first listen and track so I listened to the very first track, and I was like, I don't know what and then the vocals kicked in. I'm like, yeah, this is the one I want. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that whole experience. So the thing is that but I realized that I don't want the way most people review records, or the way that most music reviews are is it they sort of come from the expert, or they come from the perspective of I'm an expert on music, and here's my opinion, and my opinion is sacrosanct because I'm the expert, And the thing is that but I think that kind of defies the idea of art, right? The thing is that like art is an artist goes, here's an artist or group, or in the particular in the circumstances of a band, there's a bunch of artists and all of whom are like even if there's one person that's at the center, everybody else is contributing stuff, and it's that cohesive whole that becomes the message that gets sent out, right? But it's not, that message is not complete until the listener or if you're looking at a painting or until you observe the thing that was made and there's some sort of reaction, and it can be positive, it can be negative, but the thing is like, but that's really like sort of the circle of art, right? So that's when art actually becomes complete, is when it's observed, even if it's just being observed by you 3 years after you made it, that still kind of completes the thing. So I was thinking about this. So I realized that I want to walk a very, so that's why I'm bringing this to you. Like we're going to roundtable this approach, because the idea is that like, so I don't want to, I can definitely tell you how I feel about this album, and I can definitely walk you through all the things that really resonate with me and all the things I really like and all the things that like I can be like, when I first listened to this song, like I can give you the full, but again, like, but I want to be able to find a way to be able to convey that this is my personal experience predicated on my, and instead unpack sort of empirical things. So this is who this person is, or this is who these people are, and this is the music that they've made in the past, and kind of unpack that. And then also unpack like, hey, and this song is in this key, and the great thing about that is it's in this key, and the next song is in this key, and there's a really cool relationship between these songs because of just orally, so that kind of stuff I don't mind unpacking. But so the thing is like, so anyway, hold on real quick. What do you got? Yeah. So the thing is, but I just want to kind of run that by you. Like, because for me, I'd prefer that this were a round table. So did any of you guys get a chance to actually listen to T.W. Walsh's Terrible Freedom? And if you haven't, I highly recommend going and checking it out. You can, I mean, it's available on Spotify. I'm nearly 100% certain it's available on iTunes and Tidal and all the others. But yeah, did anybody here get a chance to actually listen to the record? Damn you, Lenina. No, all right. Well, yeah, no worries. I mean, so the thing is, because I'm only about 8 listens in. So this is not. So I'm not going to be able to. I'm not going to do the full review. So basically, this is sort of the beta version of 15 listens. And basically, what my thinking is that what we'll do is I will take. I'm going to take the remainder of the week, because the thing is because what I'd like to do is I'd like to listen to the album for 15 times. And then go back and kind of and really dive into it from a composition standpoint. Like this is, these are the keys. These are some of the, like, the thing is, it's really funny. So again, because I'm not super well versed in music theory, I was, I'm just now kind of beginning to explore modes and stuff like that. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll start unpack. The thing is, like, in fact, it's really funny. I think I'm going to try to get Eric Summer, the Get Set Go's viola player, who is classically trained and who does know this stuff inside and out. I'm going to get him to also interject and see if he can't be a part of the show. But so I definitely would like to find minds that are more knowledgeable than me, from a musical perspective, to just be part of the show. And so we can kind of roundtable so things, because a lot of the stuff that I do musically, I do intuitively, and it's really funny because looking at this album, there are a couple songs where I'm like, oh, it's in this key, and then I realized which is very funny because it kind of harkens back to a conversation I had with Eric over the weekend, where I was asking him, like, how do you identify, so basically, and I was explaining what modes are on Friday, but so modes are basically like playing, you know how like the piano, all the white keys, like all of those notes on the white keys, those are all in the key of C, right? So if you play if you just only play white keys, it's effectively in the key of C, or it's in the key of A minor, which is, anyway, but effectively it's all in the key of C. If you play the middle C and you play all the way up to C, that's what's called the Ionian mode, and that's just like the major scale. If you start on the second, the one right just to the right of it, which is the D, and play all the way up to the next D. It's still in the key of C, but that's called the Dorian mode. And it just has a little bit of a different flavor, you know. And if you go all the way up to the A and you start on the A, that ends up being the A minor. That means it actually ends up being the A minor minor scale. So there's just this really weird and awesome and interesting relationship between the notes on a piano or the notes in music, and I'm just beginning to understand them, and so the thing is like so I'm willing to admit that I'm probably not the best person to unpack all of the complexities of the musical music, but I do have a ton of friends that do have that understanding. And the thing is, and for me, a lot of the stuff I just do intuitively. You know, like I will sing an augmented fifth harmony because it makes a triad. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because I'm like, I'm going to throw a triad. That's what I do. You know. So anyway, but I do want to just kind of like talk about T.W. Walsh's album for a little bit because what I'm hoping, and this is what I want to maybe try to compel you guys to do and compel people that watch this after the fact, watch this on YouTube and what have you, is because I think it's first off it's a great record. There definitely are some songs that really resonated with me very deeply right out the gate. There were some songs that for me I was like, I don't really know if I get this song, you know. And now 8 listens in, some of those songs are some of those songs where I was like, I don't know if I get this are some of my favorites, you know. So the thing is, but I don't, rather than getting too deep into the but one thing I did want to say was it's really funny because, all right, so we'll just talk kind of very high level. We won't get too granular about the record because I think it would be a lot more fun if everybody else had a chance to listen to it. And then we could all of us kind of talk about, you know, I would like to go track by track and just talk about all the interesting things one of the great things about this album is that there is a ton of sonic information. Like for me, I love albums that have, you know, every little section has new little interesting things happening in it just to keep your ears, whether you're recognizing it or not, subconsciously your ears are like, oh, this is interesting. There's like little and the thing is that like that's one thing that T.W. Walsh does spectacularly well. There's always something new happening in every song, and even some songs that feel like there's, you know, that quarterly have you know, like there, yeah. Well, anyway, there's like some songs that have like long introductions, but there's always, you know, and it's basically the same progression, but there's all sorts of cool, amazing, little, interesting, intricate things kind of happening off in the wings, you know, like off in the left channel and the right channel. Give me just 1 second. My neighbor is here. He needs to borrow a dog poop bag, and give me just 1 second. Sorry about this. Back 1 second. You guys play. Yeah, use the play something. Use the sound effect. I'll be back in a second. Hey, man, I'm live streaming right now. Thank you, Lester. Yeah, see you. All right, so T.W. Walsh actually gave me an opportunity to, or gave me permission to actually play some of the music. So, no, yeah. Well, and the thing is, all right. So that's the thing. That's the thing, man, Moosey. Like I really like, my thing is like, so I think I'd like to come back here next week Monday and listen. You don't have to listen to it 15 times. But the thing is, but for me, if you listening to the album enough and I've told this story. I've told this story in the past. But in 1991, I was working at Universal, but I was living in the Palm Springs area, and I was commuting back and forth. I commuted back and forth for about 18 working days. So, and so, you know, it was basically a 2.5 hour drive without traffic, but there was always traffic. So it ended up being like a 3.5 hour drive in and out. So it was 7 hours in the car. And I had like 20 cassette tapes in my car, and all of them I had played so often that I was just burnt out on them. And I had the Pavement's very first record, Slanted and Enchanted, in my car, and And the first time I popped it in, my sister, we went to a concert. I caught Sonic Youth, and Mudhoney with Pavement opening. And actually, Kurt Cobain rolled out. It was a place called Castaic Lake in just north of Los Angeles, and my sister picked up the Pavement record, and she didn't, and she's like, I don't like this record. Do you want it? I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. I kept popping it in, and on the first listen, I'm like, this is terrible, and I tossed it in the back, but all of the rest of my cassettes I was just burned out on. So I'd pop it back in and I'd listen for but like literally I could make it maybe 2 minutes, and I'm like, this is awful. And I just kept throwing it in the back. But eventually, like after the fourth or fifth attempt, like I'm like, you know what, actually this first song's pretty cool, but the rest of them are just terrible. And I kept popping it in. And eventually the first two songs, like I'm like, well, these first two songs are amazing, but the rest and by the time the third song sold me, I'm like, okay, wait. There's I went from thinking this was a terrible album to the first three songs, like I should just live with this for a while. And so I just kept it in, and I just listened to it, and allowed because it was such a fundamental shift from what I was accustomed to hearing. And like there's like out of tune guitars, and it was just a very different sound. And by the time I wrapped my head around it, it became a life-changing, like it literally transformed the way I viewed and thought about music, and literally set me on a completely different course. And it was an album that had I just followed my first instincts and just tossed it out, I never would have discovered that. I would be a very different human being had I just not like persevered. So the thing is like, now that as my life has gone on, now that I acknowledge that, now that I see that, whenever I listen to a record, I put it in, and like, particularly the very first time, I put it in, I sit down, I just listen to it. I don't do anything else. I don't drink. I don't do laundry. I just put it on, and well, yeah. Here, can we link the record? Here, let me. In fact, you're right. I should totally have all these links and stuff because here. So let me. Let me see. I'll link it on Spotify. So if you guys have Spotify, here we go. So this is so if you got Spotify, okay, where was I? So shoot, Stefan, who's not even listening because he's listening to Boone. Boone and I are gonna have to coordinate schedules if we're gonna do this. So what the heck was I saying? I was totally derailed. Well, anyway, so the thing is, like, so I definitely think that if you give it a shot, like if you listen to it, like just put it on a handful of times over the course of the next week, and you don't have to, but what I've done. I was saying that the way I listen to albums, I just put them on and I listen, And the thing is that, like, and so what I've been doing is I've been jotting down like any sort of visceral reaction that I have. So if I go, man, that's super cool, or I don't know about this, like like any visceral reaction, I will plug that. Yeah. That's exactly right, Man Moose. Yeah, thank you. I found my way back. So let me just kind of walk you through sort of the beginnings of this album. Like, we're not gonna get too deep into it because the thing is, like, but I do. So my plan is to really unpack this album. So by next week I'll listen to it 15 times. What I'll also have done. So I have tracked every listen, kind of like what's evolved, what things I like, what things I missed the first 3 or 4 times, and now I'm hearing, that kind of stuff. So I've tracked all of those listens. Once I've got 15 times down, then I'm going to kind of come up with my own personal impressions, but literally from a purely emotion, like the things that I love, the things that perhaps I don't like just give it all of my own personal stuff. It's not going to be sacrosanct. It's not the end all be all. I'm not the expert of all experts. It's just my personal take on this album. But the thing is like, and so my hope is that you guys will also have your particular takes, and then we can get together and we can kind of roundtable and talk about it, you know. But the thing is like, but let's just kind of open, like, because if you guys haven't listened to it, then let's kind of go through the very beginning of the album. So this is the opening track. It's called My Generation. You have to, there's actually some really, I think, some really clever lyric stuff that happens kind of right at the beginning of this, in the beginning of this song. So we'll have to talk about that. But the thing is like, and we'll just kind of look at, this is kind of what I'd like to do, you know, from here forward. But here, let's just give it a listen. So. But yeah, I don't want to say it.
You made me lose my concentration. I had so little to begin. Your voice was soaked in desperation. My voice was wet with juice and gin. My mind was on my lack of money. My lack of money was on my mind. My generation thinks it's funny. It will catch up to us in time.
So I don't want you. I don't want to steal. And in fact, I feel it's really funny because I feel a little bit awkward about even doing this, because if this is your first introduction to it, like I want you to like. But anyway, I want you to listen to it the way I listen to it. But that's, you know, but I'm me and you're you, so I'm willing to concede that. But the thing is that, but yeah, so it's really funny. So when I first heard it, like, and that's the one thing that I've spent a lot of time contemplating, because there is throughout this record, there's a lot of what feel to me like kind of like classic, like synth, like kind of like 80s style, like, which is, and maybe that was intentional. Maybe I you know, I mean, I don't know. But it definitely, I haven't had a chance to really explore a lot of his back catalog. So the thing is like, but the stuff that I have explored, it seems like this is a little bit of a departure. So I don't know. So that's something that I also have to explore over this next week. But it's really funny. So the thing is like, so I was like, wow, it's kind of like got a retro thing. But then I realized that, you know what, actually, really truthfully, it has a retro thing. If you grew up in the 80s, if you were in middle school or in high school, then you probably remember that, and you're like, oh yeah. But the thing is, like, if you were born any time after that, right? So any kids in the night, anybody that's born, like, there are people that can legally drink right now. Hell, you know, have 4 or 5 year old kids that probably didn't really experience that music at all, except maybe in movies and stuff like that, you know. So the thing is like, so I realized that there's this really interesting sort of bifurcation of the audience, right? So there's like this retro thing. There's this retro thing for people that either grew up in that era or have really dived into 80s music. But then there's probably all this whole thing where there's a bunch of people that, like, these might be completely new sounds. And so anyway, so it was just a really interesting, because he makes really awesome, yeah, the poor suds. he makes really interesting use of like sort of like new and old sounds. Or for me, like there's lots of like sounds. It's funny because that little opening thing, it totally reminded me of it had because there's not it's just a vibey thing. Like it's a rhythmic thing. There's not like an overarching melody that lays over that. Like the thing is like that's what he does there. There's no way I could do that. I would be like, I gotta throw like 6 different counting point melodies. It was a really interesting way to roll into the album, because the thing is that like it definitely did like put me, for me, having grown up in the 80s, it put me in this weird, but then when his voice kicks in, so I was like, I wasn't certain of how I felt. And then once his voice kicked in, I'm like, oh, this is fun. Like literally that opening, let's just go back and listen to it again. I was like,
You made me lose my concentration. I had so little to begin.
Hey, wow, right on. Hey, everybody. So this is T. Walsh. This is the man, T.W. Walsh, rather. This is the man that made the music, dude. Hey, right on, man. Thanks for being here. We just started kind of digging into your record, man. So I was saying I'm still kind of in the very, I'm still only about halfway through all of the listens, because I'm going to give the album 15 listens, and then I'm going to do a little bit of exploration of of kind of your back catalog and kind of like so for me it's like my hope is that when we do the actual full episode next week, like everybody will walk away feeling like yeah. Minecraft comes earlier and later. Yeah, I sandwich it with Minecraft and what's it called? Friday the 13th video game. Say hey, Dawson, good to see you, man. Hey, so I was saying TW so I'm still kind of halfway through the listening portion of but the idea will be that when we actually do the full review, or it's not really a review, it's more of a discussion where I kind of we talk about this album and we kind of get very granular, diving into each of the tracks, but we also talk about kind of like your music and your history and kind of like, and so that way we can kind of frame it within the sort of the its place within your oeuvre, if that makes any sense. But anyway, so it's still kind of like, and it's funny because as I started unpacking it, but so we were talking about my generation, so we just started with the very first one, and I was saying that, in fact, you'll have to tell us, man. So there seems to be throughout the entire record, there seems to be a little bit of, or not a little bit, but it seems to be. Oh, awesome! Here, let me. What do you call it? Let me bookmark that link. Awesome. Okay, cool. Great, man. Yeah, thank you. So it seems like and so there definitely seems to be some kind of like some old school feeling synths. And yeah, that's actually very funny that you should say that, man, Moosey, because that was, so we were talking about the opening of my generation, and that's so funny that you should say that, because it definitely to me too felt like that song specifically, like there definitely seems to be, but I was like, that's crazy, that very crazy, but TW, was that a conscious effort to, like, because there definitely seems to be some kind of like it's like a mix of old and a mix of new, there's a lot of like the and here I would have to pull up some of my notes, but like there's really kind of like I don't even know what they're called, but there's like it sounds like little wood blocks, but they're like the real okay, awesome. Yeah, right on. Awesome. Yeah. That's I'm 73, and yeah. So that's it's very funny. So a lot of the 80s, a lot of the stuff that's in there, or a lot of the sounds that you use for me feel very like they're hearkening back to, you know, sort of like my middle school days and my high school days. But then they're sort of like reconfigured and then combined with a lot of other different musical components. And so anyway, so it just has this, it had this really weird like emotional effect for me, where I felt like I had one foot in the past and one foot in the now, you know, and it was awesome. But it's really funny because so you know, so what I've done is I've challenged my viewers to listen to the album a handful of times over the course of the next week. So when we get together on next week Monday and we actually unpack your record, we're gonna like round table. We're just gonna talk about it because the thing I've been trying to do, for me, one of my frustrations with music reviews, particularly when people like have reviewed my music, is it seems like they give it so little shrift. You know, they maybe give it one spin, and they come up with these very cursory, very tertiary sort of perspectives on it, and then they write as if that's sacrosanct, you know, like and it drives me insane, particularly if you put, I mean, that's one of the things that I've noticed about you lyrically is there's a lot of like there's definitely a lot of thought that goes into the lyrical content, you know, and that's one thing I don't want to unpack too much of that right now, but let's just use my generation real quick. So just listen to the opening lines.
You made me lose my concentration.
Hey, Ash.
I had so little to begin. Your voice was soaked in desperation. My voice was wet with juice and gin. My mind was on my lack of money. My lack of money was on my mind.
So obviously the juice and gin thing, was that a reference? Like the thing is, like, so it seemed like there's these little like lyrical tips of the hat to, like, obviously the Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg, and then the you know, like, I love the inverting the lack of money is on my mind, but like, you know, like instead of the money's on my mind and my mind's on my money, like I really dug that, but again, it definitely seemed to be like tips of the hat too, and so I was like, I need to figure out all of these lyrics. Are they all little references? What's, you know, so but I haven't yet jumped down that rabbit hole. But hey, so Ashley, so what we're doing? Okay, yeah. So there seems to be more of that. I mean, so I haven't really dug too deeply into the OD. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Hey, Ashley, thank you so much. Hey, so you guys, just real quick. So you all know Fake Gamer Girl, right? She is well, first off, she has her own cooking stream. It's a vegan cooking stream. It's amazing. It's a ton of fun. She has a huge following, and they're all sweethearts. But she also has me. I'm the person that does the music for her. I do all the interstitial stuff and the bumpers and wraparounds and the main title song and the closing stuff and all the So you know, so it's sort of like a family thing here. So but if you don't know it, Fake Gamer Girl, do give her a follow and then check her out and when next she streams, because it's amazing stuff. And it's ridiculous amounts of fun, and you will get healthy and eat delicious food while, you know, all at the same time. So, so what we're doing right now. So for those of you that are new to this stream that's happening right now, we are we're unpack. So I chose an album, T.W. Walsh, who's actually in the chat right now. He's right there. T.W. Walsh has a new record called Terrible Freedom, and so I on last Thursday tweeted that like this was going to be the record, and now this show is called 15 Listens. basically I'm in the process of listening to that record 15 times. Each time I listen to it, I record my impressions and my thoughts and just kind of like what affects me, like purely from a visceral perspective. I like, for me, it's like, I mean, I do enjoy intellectual titillation, but for me, the most part is like, particularly with music, like how is it affecting me? Like, like, am I really getting into it? And is it, am I rocking out to it? Is it getting my, and so what I do is, yeah, man, absolutely, dude. I mean, what's really funny, I mean, the thing is like, I think that like that's why I'm doing the show. I want to see if I can't help change the conversation with the way that people digest music, because like I'm trying to push back on that idea that music is now, like most people, the way they digest music is through movies or on TV shows, or it's something they put in the background while they're doing, like, it's not like there's no, or that's not so, I can't say most, but all I'm saying is like, there's definitely are people that are now, it's to me, it seems like the LP, people migrating back to LPs is a direct reaction to that. Like, because you have to, with an LP, you have to be at least a partially active listener, because in 15 minutes, you're gonna have to flip it over, and so it definitely keeps you a little bit more engaged with the music and kind of what's going on, and just the whole ritual of pulling out of the sleeve and putting on the, on the player, and all of that kind of like creates this idea that music is important, and it's not, it's the main entree. It's not the spice that adds to the main entree. It is the main entree, to use some fake gamer girl inspired food metaphors. So the thing is like, yeah, so my hope is that this kind of approach, and so if we do one album a year, I mean, if we do one album a week, then that'll be 52 albums in a year, which will hopefully start taking out a chunk out of the, not every, but anyway, that's my goal. My goal is to hopefully try changing the conversation. So, and the great thing is like, so I happen to stumble upon an awesome album. And so, all right, so let's, again, I want to titillate you guys with the record right now. And then we'll give you guys a week to listen to the album alongside me. You don't have to listen to it 15 times if you don't want to. I invite you to, and I challenge you to if you're willing to. But the thing is that like, but at least listen to it enough that you feel like you're able to, talk knowledgeably about your personal reactions to the music, like the stuff that turned you on, the stuff that like moved you. So I'm gonna play a couple of the others that for me, it's really funny. So I'm gonna play the title track, but I'm gonna play the title track, and then I'm gonna I don't know if I should do this. You know what? Let's just play. I'm gonna play two. It's gonna be about 6. It's gonna be about 8 minutes. But I'm gonna play the title track, and that leads into my favorite. I can't tell if it's my favorite. Well, anyway, here. So this is. All right. So this is why I am. This is why this is sort of the guinea pig. So you can listen to it. You can if you've got Spotify, human being, you can listen to it right here. Or I'm certain if you've got so TW, is it available on iTunes? Is it sort of available kind of everywhere legitimate streaming music and downloadable music is available? Or you can check out or you can just do his Bandcamp. Hold on, which is right here. Or you can listen to and buy the album right there. So this is one of the things that for me. Okay, awesome. This is one of the. All right, so this is kind of my thing. So I don't want to, because another thing for me is that albums were meant to be listened to in the sequence that they like at least like people. every artist puts a lot of thought and effort into how the narrative of their record works, right? Like whether it's an actual conceptual narrative or whether it's just a tonal narrative, making sure that each song kind of flows into the other nicely, or a combination of the two or something completely different. The thing is that the sequencing of an album is an important, it's as important, and I definitely know some people that are professionals that would argue that it's more, sometimes even more important than having, you can get away with having 3 or 4 singles on a 10-song album and have it be really well sequenced. And anyway, I don't want to get too, but all I'm saying is that albums as a whole were meant to be listened to in sequence. So I'm not 100%. I'm not certain if I knew that a huge swath of our audience had listened to the record all the way through, then I think I'd be a little bit comfortable jumping around. But I don't want to, because for me, I'm afraid that outside of the context of the whole record, there might be something that might be missed. I don't know how to explain that other than there is the transition between Terrible Freedom and Mount Confusion, the track right after it, is fucking awesome for me. It really rocked my world, and I was like, that's fucking amazing. So I want to play it for you because I want you to share the same thing, but I'm not 100% certain that it won't. I'm not certain if you need the whole narrative, if you need to start at the beginning to get there for it to have the same impact. And so I'm not going to, I'm going to play this. Here's another great track. Lyrically, this is great. There's an amazing synthesizer solo in the middle of it that I fucking love. We'll talk about this. And this is the kind of stuff that I can talk about with fervor and passion. So here we go. So this is it. This is called Dead Landmines. It's track number 5 on Terrible Freedom, T.W. Walsh's new record. And can you?
Go straight to the darkest place and bring the light that makes the path seem blind. Carry on memory of people loved and dreams of future life. The father lives and the father dies. The heart bleeds out through the eyes, it's fine. The bear sleeps in the forest pines. The child skips through the dead landmines, it's fine. My paycheck's on time. Wait around
that's-
for the
oh.
afterlife, but
So yeah,
nothing's
when that like little synthesizer solo showed up, I just fucking rocked my world. I just kept, I'm like, I have to listen to that again. Yeah, it's just so cool. Like it's like so angular and so like, you know, it's like so, it's like an anti-melody, but it fucking works. It's beautiful. Yeah, just a really, 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 like, you know, because the song's called Dead Landmines, you know, and so, really, those are the best, man. Yeah, I mean, those are the best, you know, like that totally like random happy accident kind of stuff. That's so cool. Well, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Human being is that so that's the idea behind 15 listens is that basically so the challenge is on the listener. So it's awesome, man. But so let me so and it's funny because I'm certain that this is going to get a little bit repetitive over the course of the next few months as this whole show is kind of gaining traction. But the idea is that and I told a story earlier where there was a record that I didn't like, and I kept but I had a cassette tape in my car. It was Pavement, Slanted, and Enchanted, but I had a cassette tape in my car, and I kept popping it in. I'm like, this is terrible. It was just driving me insane. I'm like, this is a terrible album. I hate it. But I was so sick of all the rest of my records. I'd sucked them dry. You know, they just did not move me, and I was stuck in hours long traffic. That every single time I would keep putting Pavement's first record in. And eventually this first song sold me. I'm like, oh, this song is great, but the rest of the album's terrible. And then eventually I'm like, oh, the first two songs are really good, but the rest of this album's terrible. And by the time the third song was like, by the time I was like, I love the third song, I realized that it wasn't the album. It was me. Like I needed to give it enough shrift. I needed to like let my ears adjust to what I was hearing. It was just information that was so left of field, and it was so difficult for me for my very narrow perspective of music to process that I just needed to like sit and listen to it and live with it for a while. And then all of a sudden, and that album became a transformative album for me, you know? So the thing is like, so that's my thing. So I definitely challenge you guys, but, you know, just listen to the record, give it some spins. So I'm only about eight listens in. So I've got another 7. So I'm just past the halfway threshold. So, you know, who knows? Maybe it might turn out that, no, it might turn out on 15 listens. I'm like, oh, this is a terrible record. No, it turns out, yeah, like so far, the thing is like, for me, like the one things I'm noticing is that there were definitely songs, there were definitely songs that really grabbed me right out the gate. And so now for me, it's the thing that I'm curious about is, will those songs that grab me right out the gate, will those still hold me? I can already tell that there are some songs that I was like, I don't know, like I was like I don't really fully understand this one that are starting to like push to the front, you know, like if this is a horse race and every song is kind of like in that race, there are some songs that were kind of like, you know, in the back of the field that are now pushing up towards the lead, you know. And so the thing is like, yeah, it's so I think this is a really, really great album to start out with, because the thing is that like, because there is a ton of like every song has a ton of musical information, you know, lyrically, sonically, and then so TW, you mixed and mastered. You did all of this, right? Like this whole thing is you. Did you also do all of the performances? And I don't. You know, actually, TW, don't answer that. Don't answer Real Human Being's question. Real Human Being, I challenge you to okay, yeah, awesome, that's great, man, that's great, TW, that's, yeah, so we'll talk about that in just a second. But so Real Human Being, I challenge you, dude, because the thing is that because you might listen to this and you might find a narrative, right? You might find some sort of, because this has happened to me with people with my own records. People have come and been like, dude, did this mean this, and that's why it ties into this, and I'm like, no, but that's awesome. I mean, that wasn't intentional. But that's amazing. And that, like, in fact, that's Lift Me Up. The song on my album Ordinary World. A woman from MSNBC was like, hey, is that a metaphor for drugs? And I'm like, No, but the rest of the rest of the album is, and it should have been. Like, why didn't I? That's yeah. So, yeah, just crazy. So, did the songs which you understand better now gain clarity within the context of the album? Actually, it's funny. So the thing is I think what it is that like I was, I know, Dawson. We're gonna, Boone and I are gonna sort it out. He and I are gonna sort it out. Probably later tonight. But yeah. Don't sweat it. So. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, right on, human being. Yeah, and so sorry. So this is the thing. So I'm challenging everybody. Give the album some spins throughout the next week. So because I think that what we're gonna do is then next week, rather than me showing up and kind of reviewing it like a reviewer would, we'll kind of roundtable it. Like we'll all of us talk about like sort of like our like what and the thing is like, and I'll walk you through, because every song so far. Every song has attributes that I absolutely love. I also kind of want to walk you through. These are songs that didn't really grab me right out the gate, or that there were components that didn't really grab me right out the gate, and this is where they grabbed me, or this is where there was a turnaround, or this is what because that's the great thing about living with a record, is like eventually stuff that for me just that sonically didn't make sense because I had a limited, like I have a very limited, particularly because for me, I've been making my own music my way, doing it with my little myopic perspective now, with very little influence outside other than my friends' bands, and that's basically an echo chamber that sometimes, sometimes I just have to like sit back and listen and just let it, and listen and just absorb the music for a little while, and then all of a sudden it's like a little flower. It just opens up. Hello, here's all my beauty. And I'm like, oh my God. So the thing is like, and so I kind of want to walk you through, because there were multiple moments on this album that did that, where I was like, where there was suddenly like new meaning or it was suddenly even more awesome. But on that one, and then I also want to unpack, so, because I don't know if you guys could hear, they were like on that one, there's in the background, like tucked way behind the mix, there's this like little flute thing. It's like, ooh, like it's a little, hey, Waka Waka Lips, thank you so much, brother. Right on, man. Awesome. Thank you, dude. But there's like, anyway, so there's just all sorts of cool, amazing little like other sounds that kind of like get thrown in, like he's combined like two or three sounds to make one sound, like, TW on, is it, I think here, let me look at my notes. There's a song that has, it feels like a shaker. It feels like you've taken like just the back half of a shake, like it's like a shaker, but it let me see, what was it? It's on Don't Come Running. It sounds like there's a shaker that's just like been like strangled or something. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, it's adding like a really percussive element, but it sounds like a shaker, but it sounds like it's just been like, it sounds like you just clipped the wave or something. What is that, an actual instrument or did you just tinker with the, anyway, that's just for my own personal edification. You don't need to answer that. I don't want a magician to reveal his secrets, but it's just a really, really cool, weird sounding percussive element. I'm like, wow, it's so strange. All right, so here, and then let me play you. So I'm not going to do any sequencing stuff because I want that, but let me play you a couple of my favorites. So this is the track 7, and this one really, really just rocked my world. I loved it. So. Oh, okay. All right, right on. Yeah, because it definitely sounds like it's just getting throttled, like, but it creates this really, really cool sounding, it's just a really cool sound effect, I've never encountered it before. So this is a song called Mount Confusion. It's track 7 on the album. Okay.
Cross the valley of the self to climb. I'm confused.
Okay, so I want to leave you guys. I want to leave you guys some more magic. But yeah, so just so and it's really funny. So that one, I want you to listen to it in the context of the full album. But that one, when that one kicks in after that one comes right after the title track, and that 1-2 punch, the title track leading into that, I'm like, oh, it's just a really really awesome sequencing choice, and just a really really great moment for me. I loved it. So. And it's really funny because I'm looking at Spotify. It's like, it sounds like TW. So if you're around next week, would you be interested in joining us? Because I'm certain I would love to talk about the sort of the production side of it as well, like kind of like the arrangements and kind of like how you got. And I don't know how into it the vast majority of the audience would be, but the thing is it's always super cool for me to just to look at kind of how people got the sounds that they got, because it's exciting for me to kind of like figure out how people are, like the idea that it's super compressed. Okay, no worries, right on, man. Awesome. Well, maybe we can have you back at a different point if you can't make it on that Monday. So the thing is, there's so much I want to talk about this record, but I want you guys. So I'm gonna play one more. I'm gonna play just a little, half the song, just kind of turn you guys onto it. And so it's really funny. Back when I first started making records, back before I even was even putting out like actual putting out albums that were for sale, but like just making records with my buddies, my old high school buddies. We're now in our 20s, and we're putting out, and we're now like got a Tascam 4-track, and we're recording, a collection of songs, and Oh, okay. Oh, awesome. Let me. I'm gonna get that too. Oh wait, hold on. Wait. All right. I'm gonna bookmark this too. Awesome. Thank you, sir. So basically, some fellow who now is
I'm so excited.
Hey, Elix, good to see you, man. How you doing, brother? Right on, brother. Okay, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so an old friend of mine who now actually does real he works with AIs and composition software, right? So like really kind of heady deep stuff. But he was talking about we put out this record, or it was just a little collection of songs, and we opened with one that had just this long intro. It was before the music actually got kicked in, and he was like that's great, man, it's really awesome because it kind of draws you in. And so I've always made a point of trying to find ways, not necessarily starting with long intros, but always trying to find a way to kick off the album with something that sonically just gives you what are we in? We're in for something interesting, and it's really funny. And so I was saying this record, it really was like starting off with, what we're talking about. T.W. Walsh has a new album out. It's called Terrible Freedom. And it just dropped. It was in April, wasn't it? I think it was like April 28th, I believe. But it's a great record. And but when it first, the opening song, which I played earlier today, which is called My Generation, it just opens up with I think it's 8 bars of. It opens up with 8 bars of just kind of this it very 80s feeling, but it just felt like it felt like I was kind of transported back in time. But then when the vocals kick in, it's all of a sudden Yeah, anyway, it's just an amazing moment. It for me, it left me like, what is going on here? You know, like, and then, yeah, it's super cool. So, all right. And then the thing is like, usually when I close out, when I close it, like closing out with an album, like, you know, like you want to have something, you know, like you want it to feel like the period at the end of the sentence, right? You know, unless you're going for like, but anyway, this is the closing song on the record. This might be my favorite song right now. This might be my favorite song. And we'll talk about that. We'll actually unpack that next week, because I don't want to dive too deep into the lyrics until next week when everybody has a little bit more familiarity. And then I will we'll go through kind of the composition. We'll go through the, you know, what moves us in the music, but we'll also kind of go through, you know, lyrically, because there's some awesome and really, really clever and brilliant and heartfelt and earnest and kick-ass lyrics on this. But this song for me really, really drives home. So.
Things dearest to me in song. They're right in front of me, but shining a light feels wrong. Stand and shout about the places where you but I won't reveal the things dearest to me in song.
Just what a great lyric. I won't reveal the things dearest to me in song. Like, that's just so, you know, like because the thing is, because this whole album, it feels very personal, and it feels like, you know, it feels like it's kind of exploring a lot of dead landmines. Like, I mean, obviously the title dead landmine suggests, you know, like the idea, like, you know, it has a lyric about kids like kind of tripping through the, you know, fields of dead landmines. Like the idea well, all right. I don't want to unpack any of the lyrics or my thoughts on any of the lyrics just yet. And so I'm trying to figure out how I could do that without actually. Anyway, so the thing is, like, so it just really felt like a very personal record. It felt like a heartfelt, if not a little bit like heartbroken record, or not heartbroken, but like, there's lots of shades of dark, like there's lots of shadows, you know, throughout this record, lots of like little intimations of darkness, you know, if not just overt darkness, and then but it's counterbalanced by the, you know, beautiful, you know, by beautiful sounds, and then at the very end, it feels very personal, and then the very last song is called "Is That Wrong?" and is "I won't reveal the things that are dearest to me" in song, saying that all of the depth you've gotten from this record, there's even more lurking behind. I'm just not going to give it to you because it belongs to me. Fucking great! I just fucking love it. And I don't even know if that was TW's intention, but that was my read on it, and I was like, that's awesome, you know, just awesome. So yeah, right on, man, Moosey. Yeah, man, it's definitely a fun experience, dude. So all right. So why don't we do this? So why don't we do this? Because I know that Boone is streaming right now, and I don't want to be a jerk. Do you guys want to go? Well, shall we go raid Boone? And then we'll pick this up. We'll pick this up next week. So again, the album is T.W. Walsh. The album is called Terrible Freedom, which is a great name for an album. And yeah, it's 10 songs, and I invite you guys to just review it and listen to it, and you know, and then or not review it, but I mean just listen to it. Don't even get into it from the perspective of we're gonna like, just listen to it and enjoy listening to it. And then next week when we, oh yeah, go ahead, Lenina. And then next week when we all get back together, we'll all of us as a group unpack the album and unpack our thoughts on it, and now I've got the lyrics, and so we can dive into those, and we can dive into the. Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, we're gonna take off in just a bit anyway as well, TW. So thank you so much for being here, man. And oh, it's Garrett's birthday. Right on. All right, I'll do a happy birthday song for him. But awesome. Well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, seriously, thank you so much, TW. It was a real pleasure to have you here. And yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm glad I had a chance to turn the people onto the record, because it's really, really great record. Hey, thank you so much, man. Awesome. I'm glad you're digging it. Hopefully the Twitch sphere agrees. All right, here we go. So let's do a happy birthday song for. All right, well, yeah. Does Garrett? Oh, here. Oh, wait, here. Let me plug in so you can actually hear the guitar. Oh, sorry about that. I thought it was muted. It wasn't. Let's divide the end conclusion, rearrange the last solution, make the ends meet the means. Do you assume the devil's daughter drinks only bottled water? Well, I'll buy her a glass just the same. When Garrett grows up, he wants to be a fire truck. When Garrett grows up, he wants to be a fire truck. When he grows up, he wants to be a fire truck. He wants to be a fire truck when he grows up. Should I falter if I waver, disregard my behavior, 'cause I'm getting better every day? Jesus shows his face again. Will he vote Republican? Well, I hope he votes for me, the fire truck. Yeah. When Garrett grows up, he wants to be a fire truck. When Garrett grows up, he wants to be a fire truck. When he grows up, he wants to be a fire truck. He wants to be a fire truck when he grows up.
You get the drink from
if
the
he wavers, disregard his behavior, 'cause he's getting better every day. Do you assume the devil's daughter drinks only bottled water? Well, I'll buy her a glass just the same. When he grows up, he wants to be a fire truck. When he grows up, he wants to be a fire truck. When he grows up, he wants to be a fire truck. He wants to be a fire truck when he grows up. Hey, happy birthday, Gareth. Awesome, man. I'm glad you're now, what, you're 25 now? You can drive a car? You're getting your own house? Is that what it is, bud? That's awesome, man. I hope your birthday is absolutely awesome. And yeah, man, I hope you have a wonderful, you know what, in fact, take a birthday month. You get the whole month. All of July is your month. It's your birthday month, bud. So yeah, if you show up here, and when you show up here, let us know. You can claim your birthday month and say, I want to hear this song, and I'll play it for you. Okay, so you can do that anytime you show up at the show over the course of July. You can claim your birthday month, and I'll play a song for you. Okay, bud. So you have an awesome birthday, and have happy. You're 8 now, right? He's 25. Oh, you are 20. Awesome. All right, so why don't we go raid Boone, everybody? So do you guys all know Boone's thing? And then again, so this was basically the beta version of 15 listens. And then it's going to go in full release next Monday. I'll have a chance to actually I will have a chance to actually like really finish listening to the album and then dive into, like, again, I want to be able to dive into his back catalog to be able to kind of talk about kind of the sort of the changes that I saw, the things that I witnessed, or like, and just give. So yeah, so it's just so for me, it's more than just the 15 listens. It's a little bit more. I have to dig a little bit deeper so I can kind of give you guys a little bit more information than I mean, and you're willing to, if you're interested in doing your own digging and exploration, and you can show up with interesting facts about the record or about TW or anything that might add to the conversation. That's totally awesome. But and so we'll all of us meet back here next week Monday, and we'll just do the same thing, and we'll unpack that album, and it will be awesome. And the great thing is like, and then we'll finally give an album the kind of attention it deserves, and this is a great record to launch that with. So awesome, right on. I'm super excited, Bobcat. Right on, man. Yeah, dude, seriously. I thank you guys for being a part of this experiment, because the thing is like I wasn't certain how it was going to be received, and I also wasn't certain. I wasn't certain if I could do this. Like once I started really thinking about what music review, like what, because for me I think the issue with music reviewing for me is that it tells people what to think about a record, right? And the thing is that like, awesome. That's great. And I don't expect you guys to. I'll do all that heavy lifting, but awesome. All right. Well, yeah. Well, all right. We're gonna go here. Let me grab the let me grab the raid call. Don't you go to bed. All right. There we go. That's the raid call. And I'm gonna host Boone right now. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and I'll see you all next week if you get a chance. So again, I'm gonna put in. Oh shoot, I didn't. Here, wait, real quick, 1 second. I'm gonna put in the thing one more time. This is where you can find on You can find TW Walsh's music on Spotify. This is where you can find it on Bandcamp. The Bandcamp one you can actually listen in your web browser. So that's probably the better of the two if you don't have Spotify. And then and I will see you all. Some of you tomorrow, and the rest of you, hopefully, I see sooner than. Hopefully, I see you all in 15. Well, hopefully, I see you in 5 minutes in Boone's thing. I'm gonna host Boone right now. So TV, Boone's Borough. All right, love you all. See you there.